All right, guys. Sunday afternoon, day after the big race, the 250. Man, was it a race? It was a tough one. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a smash, although a lot of guys lost birds. Within the first hour, I don't think we had a quarter of the birds home. I mean, it was a tough race. Myself, I think I had 7 or 8 birds within that first hour out of the 64 that I sent. And slowly throughout the day, they started trickling in all the way till dark. I mean, I had a bird drop 8:45, 8:50 last night. I was able to recover 6 more this morning, 4 of which were money race birds, so I was excited to get those back. It was a tough race. I mean, I still placed very well. I ended up scoring a 5th place win, 4th loft, 5th place, only a minute or so behind the winning bird, so I still consider that a really good result. Oddly enough, the bird that took this 5th place won the 100-mile race for me. So I was really excited about that. In my opinion, a bird that can do well on an easy race and do well on a tough race and distances from 100 to 250 is almost a guarantee a good bird. Whether he's going to be a good breeder or not, time will tell. But I think he's going to be a good bird. And the fact that we got him back and he's nominated for some of the big races, I'm super excited about that. Hopefully we don't drop him anytime soon. Today is a day of recovery. They're on a heavier feed. They are on total rest. They can have the aviary if they like. They can have as much feed as they like. I have grit down for them. This is the time to do them. Time to recover them because it was a tough race. Some of the birds that flew 8, 9, 10 hours. I mean, can you imagine that flight? It wasn't distance necessarily, but it was hours on the wing of endless flying. And some birds may have stopped for hours. I'm not sure, but I'm still going to treat them as if they were out all day and go through the recovery procedure. Tomorrow, I might give them a nice bath, let them out for a loft fly just to gauge to see how they do, how they respond. I'm not going to push them at all. Starting Tuesday, I might take them on a short toss, again, just to sort of gauge how they do, and then start pushing them a little bit for Wednesday and Thursday. And our next race is going to be 180 miles, which is 167 for me. And I'm going to send them. You guys know how I do. I send all the birds. I send them on every race. That's how I was able to do so well last year, because I sent them. When guys weren't sending because of tough headwinds or tough races, I was sending them all. I never understood that, and I still don't understand why somebody would waste 8, 9, 10 months of work on these birds and not send them to the races in fear of losing them. Because what's the end game, guys? We're going to have to cull these birds in 2 months anyway, or find homes for them, or whatever method you find to get rid of your birds at the end of the year, the birds that don't make the cut. So why not freaking send them? I just don't get it. I'm not... Let me take a breath because I get too amped up about that because I don't understand, guys. But nonetheless, we did super. The bird is a really nice bird. Not something I even paid attention to, guys. Never really stood out on any of the training or anything like that. But so far, it's been doing super well. It's a correlation between a local guy here who ended up putting the bird in my loft off of his Kaiser stuff, and a hen that was sent to him from a guy in Georgia by the name of Chris Brazilla. Off his King Carl stuff, and it's a direct child of those 2 birds. And you know what, guys, in my opinion, some of the best birds I've ever owned have been birds that were gifted to me. I know a lot of guys like to spend big bucks on these big name birds and fancy pedigrees, but the best birds I've ever owned have been birds that were given to me. And in your case, it might not be that way. I mean, some clubs are so stingy about helping each other out that you have no choice but to buy birds, big names and high dollar figures, and you're stuck doing that. And unfortunately, it really is unfortunate, because a lot of those birds are junk. And if you're gonna fool yourself to think that you're gonna spend $1,000 and get a winner out of that bird, man, it's more power to you. But I know in my experience, even the best birds in the world bring more junk than good birds. And we've talked about this before. But nonetheless, guys, again, it might not be your situation. In my situation, I was fortunate enough to have really good friends. The guy who put the bird in my loft this year has put many birds in my loft throughout the years. And honestly, a good third of my birds are directly from him. My best stuff, I should say. He's very generous with his birds. He spent a lot of money obtaining some of the best birds he could get. And it shows, And again, you have to start somewhere. So we won't go into too much detail about that. But keep an eye out. I don't know. It's tough because, again, everybody's situation is different. I was fortunate enough. Some guys are not fortunate, so unfortunately they have to buy those expensive birds. or at least try their luck at buying an expensive bird, because you buy the best bird you can afford, and then you race the babies, and that's just how it goes. But it's so unfortunate when you see guys spend thousands and thousands and the birds never pan out. And here I am, I got a free bird and has already won a race, scored on a high position on another race, and could show more potential in the following races, all for free. So it's, you guys know what I'm trying to say. But we'll see. Like I said, total recovery, we're going to push him for the next race, 167 miles. Then we have a 200, which is 194 or 96 for me. And then we bump him to a 300, which is kind of a big jump. But even the last race was a 90-mile jump for me. And I thought about it for a moment. I was kind of concerned. But you know what? The birds handled right. The conditioning was right. 90 miles wasn't anything. So I went ahead and sent them. And this is the results. I mean, like I said, a minute and a half behind the winning bird. I can't complain about that. Really good results. I'm really excited that I still have the bird and I can push them on the next few races, and we'll see how they do. Hopefully, in the next couple of videos, we'll be talking about another win from this bird. Who knows? Again, we try our best, right? No guarantee. Let me see, because I think the bird may be out here. Just to give you a quick glimpse, I have an orange counter marker on him. He's a blue bar with an orange counter marker. Let me see. He's right here, right in the front. That's him right here. Looks like a nice little cockbird of, like I said, a Kaiser on the father side, and a bird from Chris Brazilla, which is off his King Carl stuff, which I believe is, what the heck was that bird? I can't remember exactly, but nonetheless, it did super well. I know my buddy Andre Tomas, he's also got a YouTube page if you guys want to check him out. He's got a couple birds from Chris. I'm hoping he does real well with them. Hopefully in the future, him and I can maybe trade some birds. I'll send him some. He can send me some. We'll try each other and maybe build a small family off of that. Because I'm not sure exactly what family he's got. I know the birds that I bought from Chris were off of his gold band cock. Grandson off the gold band and a daughter off the gold band's brother. And they, in their first year of breeding, I won the 250 with that youngster. So I mean, it's been a good family so far. The Kaiser stuff that's here has been winning in the big races for since the birds have been out. I mean, there's again, it's a good blend, not necessarily guaranteed. I'm sure they, my buddy bred plenty of them, and this is the only one that's really showing his worth. But that's how it goes. So nonetheless, guys, we'll take you on the next few ones. Again, 160 for the next one, 200, 300, and if it all turns out well, and I get most of my birds back, because I think I'm out another 12 or so birds, we'll be good to go. I think. Again, I think the birds are ready. I'm going to try to get them ready, get them down the road, get them trained out, and we'll see how we do, guys. We'll see you on the next one.